recording on, you may accept. You'll have to accept it. Continue. So, okay. Okay, shall we begin? So, namaste and welcome everyone to this session on yoga to love, forgive and accept. To learn about dimag ka duster. This dimag ka duster name has been given by some of those students who have been practicing this over a long period of time. They say, ma'am, this is a real dimag ka duster. So I said, okay, let's tell the others also that you think it's dimag ka duster. Otherwise, it is a new yoga technique, which is better known with the name Vritti changing technique or EFT. So let's begin as to what this session is all about. Luckily, all of us already know each other. Asha aa ja rahi hai, lekin theek hai. Maybe as we progress further, maybe we will talk to each other a little more. I'll share a few slides to begin with, give you the background so that we are on the same page to continue further. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. So yoga to love, forgive and accept by Suchitra Parekh, who's conducting the session today. And I want to first and foremost, while welcoming you, congratulate you for taking this decision of having to come and get yourself introduced to this simple thing that I'm going to share with you. It's always good to invoke the commonly present energy in us, around us. And what better than Shri Ganeshaya Namaha? The context in which I use Ganesha is because of my focus on Sankhya Yoga, where we consider this entire universe as a manifestation of the nature. And the first thing from which all other things arises from nature is called the buddhi, the intellect. And I'm sure all of you have heard of Ganesh ji being the lord of the buddhi. Budhwar bhi Ganesh ji ka var kehte hain hum. But why it is so called? In our Indian system, there is a lot of symbolization, lot of symbolic things, and Ganesha is the symbol of buddhi. It is no god or person or decorated being or a deity, no. All these are a way to remember, convert things into some symbols, so that with that one symbol, a lot of knowledge and understanding is available. And that is buddhi. And that being the first and the highest, so we invoke the highest so that our journey do not stop in between. We do not aim at anything lower. We aim at the highest, the pure intellect or buddhi. Now, talking of buddhi, we generally relate thinking as a part of buddhi. So you are what you think is the placard that I used to always see placed at the reception desk of the Yoga Institute when I was doing my course over there. And this is what Sri Yogendra ji's quote is: you are what you think. Now, one thing very important is that not to accept anything that anybody says just like that. So I will ask you to react to this statement. You are what you think. What do you say about it? Each one of you can please share your opinion on it. I will stop the slide share for the time being till we are all sharing on you are what you think. Okay. So, okay, wow, Omprakash has also joined. Malti, you could begin.
To me, you are what you think means that the personality that you are actually comes through because of your thoughts. In fact, it is often said that your eyes reflect your soul. And also, I firmly believe that your character comes out on your face. Now, why is that? Because that is the sum total of what you are or have been in this journey called life.
Wow. So you agree with you are what you think. Very well. Charmi, what do you think?
Unmute.
Yeah. Not able to unmute yourself?
Yeah. So I'll say from what I know, my medical point of view says that what your body is dependent on what you are as a personality. So if there's a personality that tends to hold things or tends to hold on to emotions or hold on to grudges or hold on to their pride or ego or whatever it is, they tend to be more obese on the obese aspect, or somebody who tends to hold on to things tends to have constipation or so these are the things that we've seen, that type A personalities tend to develop lifestyle disorders like diabetes or hypertension or such things. So like, like what your thought process is affects your body.
Great. Reema, what do you say?
So my understanding of you are what you think is what I think on a regular basis will form into my beliefs, and whatever I believe in is how I will react or respond to a situation, which means that is what will form my behavior. And the way my behavior is, accordingly, I will have experiences of life, and that is what my life will become.
So you are the even creator of your life by the way you think. You are saying you've added to it. Wow. Asha, would like to hear your view on this. Asha probably is not there. Omprakash?
हाँ, यस,
हाँ, बहुत अच्छा लगा कि तुमने ज्वाइन किया.
हाँ, थैंक यू.
You are what you think, योगेंद्र जी कहते हैं. तुम्हें क्या लगता है?
योगेंद्र जी को तो मैं मिला नहीं था क्योंकि मैं ज्वाइन किया इंस्टीट्यूट में, तो उससे पहले जा चुके थे, पर जितना कुछ उनके बारे में सुना है, मतलब ऐसा उनकी जो किताबें पढ़ी हैं, उनके बारे में जो टीचर ट्रेनिंग कोर्स में सुना है.
You are what you think. इस वाक्य के बारे में तुम्हारा क्या कहना है? तुम जो सोचते हो तुम वही हो. ये
जो मैं सोचता हूँ. नहीं समझा, मैं फिर से पूछिए.
योगेंद्र जी का कहना था, तुम जो सोचते हो वही तुम हो, तुम्हारी सोच ही तुम हो.
यस, हाँ, ये चीज तो है उनका. ये तो पूरे ट्रेनिंग में यही बताते हैं वो. वहाँ इंस्टीट्यूट में तो पूरा ट्रेनिंग का बेस ही यही है कि हमारी सोच कैसी हो. जो मैं सोचता हूँ वही मैं हूँ. तो ये तो पूरा बेस वही ट्रेनिंग का है इंस्टीट्यूट में, जो हमारा कोर्स है डिजाइन किया हुआ. हमको हर वक्त हमारी सोच जो है वो अच्छी रखनी है, पॉजिटिव रखनी है, क्योंकि हम जो सोचेंगे वही दिखेगा और वही होगा हमारे साथ.
बिल्कुल. So we are all on the same page. Asha, are you there? आ गई क्या आशा? So we conclude that yes, we all agree with this fact, and we have all experienced for ourselves in life that we are what we think. Fine. So that's a good point to continue further with. I'll continue the slide share here. So if we agree with that, let me brief you on what is it that we are going to do. The benefits of yoga is just a few minutes without doing asanas and pranayam. What you're going to experience today in a short period of time is what often people expect to happen to them after doing half an hour, 1 hour of yoga asanas and pranayam. अक्सर लोग आसन प्राणायाम वगैरह इसलिए करते हैं कि उसको करने के बाद में उन्हें बहुत मन ऐसे शांत लगता है और स्थिरता आती है, उनको अच्छे विचार आसानी से उपलब्ध होते हैं और इसलिए उनको आसन क्लास में प्राणायाम क्लास में जाना अच्छा लगता है। और हम टीचर्स भी ये अनुभव करते हैं, योगा टीचर्स जो हैं, कि क्लास में आसन प्राणायाम सिखा के हमें भी उसी प्रकार की शांति सिखाने में भी वही अनुभव होता है। अब योग का अपना उद्देश्य जो भी रहा हो, लेकिन हम आम लोगों के लिए योग का उद्देश्य सबसे पहले यही है कि वी calm down, get ourselves under control and think positively. Correct? सात्विक विचार रखें ताकि हम सत्व की ओर बढ़ें. So, which is what you will find that this technique gives you in a shorter period of time and attending to the specific thing that is disturbing you. Why am I doing this? Because I have this thought in my mind of integrating thought, speech, action together and transform at least 10,000 people in this year who also experience this integration of thought, speech, action. Now, what do I mean when I talked about calming down? And now I'm talking about integration of thought, speech, action. When you're calming down, you all agreed that when your thoughts are of the kind you want, you will definitely put in your best and act out in that manner. That is what will make up your personality. Yes. Now your personality, if you or your thoughts are different than what you do, then what you feel, that will not make appropriate personality. Unless until that thought is translated into your behavior, into your feelings and attitude, only then will it make up your personality, right? So from agreeing to I am what I think, we are actually saying that yes, integration of thought, speech, action should happen. So are you prepared to join hands with me in integrating yourself is the question I allow you to ponder on as we go ahead. And I do this because I know that integrated self is a happy self, and in making others happy, happiness I find. So I want all of you to be with me in this happiness. Let me share with you a little bit of this understanding about thought, speech, action.
In a class, I'll call you.
The head over here represents the thought, hands, the action, and heart, the feeling. The hands is action. Speech is also an action. So that's getting included there. Now, our life experiences constitute of these three areas. In education psychology, the term used are cognitive for the head, the thinking domain. The head, the hand is called the psychomotor domain, and the heart is called the affective domain. So we live and learn in these three domains, and when these three are integrated, only then can you actually progress in the desired direction. You will find that disintegration is what causes all the difficulties, all the problems and delays and purposeless life and all that. तो head, heart और hand, सोचना, फील करना और एक्शन करना, अनुभव करना, ये सारा हमारा जो योग में जो हम भोग और अपवर्ग कहते हैं, भोग करना, तो भोग इन तीनों चीजों से इकट्ठा होकर बनता है. ठीक है, अब ये अलग अलग दिशा में जा रहे हैं तो हमारा भोग भी डिसइंटीग्रेटेड होगा, और ये एक दिशा में है तो हम आगे प्रोग्रेस करेंगे. राइट, नहीं तो हाथ एक जगह जा रहा है, दिमाग एक जगह जा रहा है, फीलिंग एक जगह जा रही है, तो हम आगे नहीं बढ़ सकते, हम अटक जाते हैं, तो उसको हम तमस कहते हैं. राइट, अब हुआ क्या है हमारा हेड, आर्ट और हैंड में. all of you are educators here, whether other subjects or yoga. तो एजुकेशन में हमारे, हम सब ने स्कूल कॉलेज पढ़ा है, राइट. कहीं पर भी जो एग्जामिनेशन है या फोकस है हमारे सीखने सिखाने का, वो है हेड. थोड़ा सा यानी जो हमने बीएससी किया है वो सारा हेड के ऊपर से हमारे को मिला है. उसके अंदर थोड़ा खेल कूद वगैरह होता है, खाने पीने के लिए कहा जाता है, इतनी थोड़ी समझ हुई है कि भाई व्यवहार में, बिहेवियर में हमें को दूसरों के साथ कैसे रहना है. तो थोड़ा सा ध्यान साइकोमोटर डोमेन के ऊपर भी है. तो कॉग्निटिव डोमेन के ऊपर तो पूरा पूरा दारोमदार है हमारा एजुकेशन का, थोड़ा साइकोमोटर की तरफ है, यानी उसके बारे में थोड़ा हमने एजुकेशन लिया है. लेकिन एजुकेशन होने से क्या होता है कि उसके ऊपर थोड़ा हमारा वश होता है. अभी मैं आपसे कहूं कि अच्छा आप अपने एक फ्लावर के बारे में सोचो, तो आप सोच सकते हो, है ना, अपने दिमाग में एक फ्लावर याद कर सकते हो जो आप देख सकते हो और उसके बारे में विचार कर सकते हो, जो भी आपकी जानकारी है, समझ है उसके बारे में. राइट, यू कैन मेक योरसेल्फ थिंक ऑफ द थिंग दैट यू वांट. और अब आपको अभी फोन आया, फोन उठाओ, मैंने कहा हाथ आपका फोन ही उठाएगा. राइट, हाथ को जो करना है वो एजुकेशन के हिसाब से उसको जो लगता है कि ये फोन है उसको उठाएगा. राइट, वैसे ही अब हार्ट तो फील करने के लिए है. मैं आपको कहूं कि इस समय आप लव महसूस करो. कैन यू मेक योरसेल्फ फील दैट नाउ? वी आर नॉट एजुकेटेड फॉर इट, वी डू नॉट हैव एक्सेस टू दिस. तो अब हम इंटीग्रेशन यदि करना चाहते हैं, वी वांट टू थिंक एंड do as well as feel that same thing. तो ये तीनों को बराबर से एजुकेटेड होना पड़ेगा ना. अब एजुकेटेड नहीं होने की वजह से ये छटक जाता है. हम सब कुछ अच्छा कर लेते हैं अपनी समझ में, लेकिन लास्ट मिनट के अंदर कुछ, जैसे अक्सर होता है कि बच्चे एग्जाम के लिए जा रहे हैं तो सब कुछ याद किया है, सब कुछ है, लेकिन लास्ट मिनट पे कुछ नर्वस हो गए और सारा सब भूल भाल गए और पूरा सा लिख नहीं पाए वगैरह वगैरह होता है. राइट, और ये हर एक ने अनुभव भी किया है और दूसरों के साथ भी देखा है. द हार्ट रिमेन्स अनएजुकेटेड, और अनएजुकेटेड होने की वजह से ये दो चित्रों के बीच में आप फर्क देख लो. वैसे तो कहा जाए तो बिल्ली इज अ डोमेस्टिक एनिमल, है ना, पालतू जानवर है. तो पालतू जानवर को तो हम गोद में ले सकते हैं, प्यार कर सकते हैं, लेकिन वो यदि जंगली बिल्ली है तो जो पालतू, आमतौर पे पालतू जानवर है लेकिन उसका एजुकेशन नहीं हुआ है, उसका पालतू नहीं बनाया गया है, तो उससे आपको डर लगेगा, आप उसको छूने नहीं जाओगे. अब शेर को कहो तो वैसे जंगली जानवर है, लेकिन यदि आपने उसको पाला है, उसको पालतू बनाया है, इफ इट इज एजुकेटेड, इट इज टेम्ड, तो आपको डर नहीं लगेगा, आप उसकी शक्ति को, उसकी एनर्जी को इस्तेमाल कर सकोगे। रिंग मास्टर कैसे शेर को अपने एक इशारे के ऊपर नचा लेता है, क्या क्या करवा लेता है ना, वो एजुकेटेड है। तो आपको ये जो है मन, वाणी, हैंड वगैरह और आप जो फीलिंग्स वगैरह हैं, ये सब आपको एक उपकरण की तरह उपलब्ध है। दे आर इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स फॉर यू टू मेक योर लाइफ कंप्लीट एंड फुल। कुछ इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स तो बराबर से आते हैं और कुछ नहीं आते। तो एक ऑर्केस्ट्रा के अंदर एक पियानो बजाने वाला या ड्रम बजाने वाला कोई ऑफ बीट जा रहा है, उसको म्यूजिक का नहीं मालूम है, उसको नहीं मालूम हम कौन से धुन प्ले कर रहे हैं, वो इधर उधर का कुछ भी बजा रहा है, तो पूरा ही संगीत खराब हो जाता है ना, कि खाली वो उतना ही खराब होता है, नहीं, it spoils everything. So that integration does not happen. हालांकि I have known people, my own uncle was talented, so educated, but he could never sustain a job more than 3 months. He was emotionally uneducated. He would get upset when people would break rules. He would find himself complaining and standing with the right. And he became the most unpopular person. And the boss also found him too much of a pain. Finally, would find ways of either he would leave because he got dissatisfied that nobody seems to be listening to me, nobody is doing the right thing, everybody is doing wrong. I'm the only one who is bothered, so this is not the place for me. Or the boss would remove him because he was causing so much of turmoil. ये यानी कि extreme case था. All of us face this in a smaller or larger measure, at some place or the other, in certain situations or the other. Yes, that we are not able to bring about a balance. अब head तो इतना बड़ा हो गया और heart इतना सा ही रहा, तो वो मैच नहीं करेगा ना. अब मेडिकल की लैंग्वेज में कहो तो वो ब्लड फ्लो कैसे जाएगा बराबर से, उसका उतना ही स्ट्रॉन्ग हार्ट भी होना चाहिए ना, कि उसको इतने बड़े हेड को पूरा सा ब्लड सप्लाई करे. तो इट बैलेंस. इसलिए फॉर व्हाट वी थिंक टू हैपन टू अस appropriately and that we can think good so that the good happen to us, we need to integrate our thought, speech, action, and for that purpose we need to educate our heart first. Head, heart and hand में से कोई भी एक बराबर से थोड़ा मैच नहीं कर रहा है तो हम कुछ नहीं कर सकते. तो हमें एक्चुअली करना है सभी को साथ में ले जाके आगे ले जाना है. हमने बात दिमाग के डस्टर की है. अब हुआ क्या है, actually when we say thought, speech, action, in the thought the feeling is included. Thought and feeling are really not really separable, but in the modern times ये specialization का जमाना है, तो हम लोगों ने हेड और हार्ट को भी अलग अलग थलग कर दिया है और इसी वजह से बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम्स हो रही हैं. तो ठीक है, हम उसको अलग से समझते हैं तो उसको अलग से डील भी करते हैं. चलो, तो सबसे पहले हम ये करेंगे कि पहले इस हार्ट को उतना एजुकेट कर लें कि वो बाकी दोनों के साथ में इंटीग्रेट हो सके. ठीक है, तो टुडे आज हम जो करेंगे वो जिसको हमने नाम दिया है योगा टू लव, फॉरगिव एंड एक्सेप्ट. और ये है असल में क्योंकि मैं योग के लिए इसको प्रचलित करना चाहती हूँ, इसलिए मेरी कोशिश होती है कि जो लोग किसी भी प्रकार से योग से जुड़े हैं उनको मैं ये तकनीक सिखाऊं. और उनके समझने के लिए इस तकनीक को नाम दिया है मैंने वृत्ति चेंजिंग टेक्निक. वृत्ति, योग वाले लोग चित्त वृत्ति निरोध की बात करते हैं. पतंजलि ने योग को डेफिनेशन जो दिया है वो है चित्त वृत्ति निरोध, चित्त की वृत्तियों को शांत करना. और वृत्ति यानी होता है फंक्शन. चित्त के फंक्शन क्या है? टू थिंक. तो सोचना बंद करना या अपने रेगुलेट करना, कंट्रोल में जो वो चीज होती है उसको आप कम ज्यादा चालू बंद कर सकते हो। तो वही काम हमें हमें चित्त की वृत्तियों के साथ करना आना चाहिए, तो हम आगे बढ़ सकते हैं। योगा इज आर्ट एंड साइंस ऑफ पर्सनल ग्रोथ, राइट? तो आगे बढ़ने के लिए पहला चरण ये है कि हम हमारी वृत्तियों को हमारे कंट्रोल में रखें, कि जंगली बिल्ली ना हो जाए, पालतू शेर बने। एक और बात, मैंने बिल्ली और शेर का एग्जांपल इसलिए भी लिया कि शेर कितना ताकतवर होता है ना, और फिर भी, और वो चाहे तो उस आदमी को फटाक से जरा सा झटका मार के गिरा सकता है, वो आदमी उसके ऊपर लदा हुआ सा है। और बिल्ली जब जंगली होती है तो जरा से के लिए एकदम से भड़काऊ होकर वो बाउंस कर सकती है ना, एंड इट कैन रियली रियली डैमेज यू मोर देन द पालतू शेर। तो हमारे इमोशंस भी, फीलिंग्स भी वैसे ही जंगली बिल्ली जैसे हैं। एक झटके में एक गुस्सा आ गया और हाथ उठ गया और थप्पड़ मार दिया, और बाद में लगा कि नहीं इसकी जरूरत नहीं थी। यानी एक तैश में आके हम बहुत सारा कुछ गलत कर जाते हैं, सब जानते बूझते हुए। इस वो क्षण भर के अंदर पुल अपने आप हमारे को खींच लेता है अपनी तरफ। तो ये जो इमोशंस है उसको इस तरह से समझना और उनको ऐसे रखना कि जब हमें जरूरत हो तब हम उसका उपयोग कर सकें, तो कितना अच्छा होगा ना। So what does it take to learn it is also what I will share with you at the end. ये टेक्निक पूरी तरह से सीखने के लिए क्या होगा, लेकिन एक छोटा अनुभव उसका पहले कि ये आपके लिए कैसे काम करती है, कितना काम करती है, वो हम आज जरूर करेंगे। और मैं इसको करने के लायक क्यों हूँ, मेरे ख्याल से सबको पता है, तो मुझे इसके ऊपर जाने की जरूरत नहीं है। आप सब इतने, तो कोई भी यहाँ पर अनजान नहीं है मेरे लिए आज, और आपके लिए मैं। तो इस स्लाइड के बारे में मुझे कुछ नहीं कहना। ये तकनीक हम करें उससे पहले थोड़ी सी और जानकारी आपको देना चाहती हूँ। जस्ट एक नजर दौड़ाओ यहाँ पर जो चीजें लिखी है उसके ऊपर, और ये नंबर्स पर, बाकी सब भले रहने दो। पहले दो कॉलम्स के ऊपर जस्ट एक कर्सरी ग्लांस। ओके, तो मैंने ये इसलिए स्लाइड लगाई है खाली ये बताने के लिए कि वी आर ऑल एनर्जी बीइंग्स, राइट, एंड वी वाइब्रेट एट डिफरेंट फ्रीक्वेंसीज। और हम जो कह रहे थे कि यू आर व्हाट यू थिंक, तो सी ऑल दीज आर थॉट्स एंड फीलिंग्स, फीलिंग ऑफ शेम, एंगर or willingness, acceptance, peace, love, joy, right? From the negative feelings to the positive feelings, you can see your frequency increases. Yes, so when you are feeling guilty, you're vibrating at a frequency of 30. You want to change it to joy and peace from 30. How will you go to 540 or 600? There has to be a way. You need some, maybe an escalator or something. Yes, and उससे पहले आपको एक थोड़ा सा बैलेंस स्टेट में थोड़ा आना पड़ेगा ना। यस, तो गिल्ट इज मेकिंग यू, अब तुम योगा वाले हो, इतना तो मालती भी समझती है, तमस इज रेजिस्टेंस, सो दिस इज इन अ तामसिक काइंड ऑफ अ स्टेट। सो rather than guilty, I would rather have you angry, isn't it? So at least some rajas is there, some movement is there, and from that movement then make you calm and quiet. With reasoning you can come to being peaceful and joyous. So just this one very vague study of this slide can show you a way up. अब लेकिन ये बताओ, जब तुम गिल्टी फील कर रहे हो या शेम फील कर रहे हो तो कितना आदमी अपने आप को यानी जमीन में गड़ जाए ऐसा लगता है, कुछ नहीं करने का मन करता, कुछ नहीं सोचता है। कई लोग अपने आप को बंद कमरे में कर लेंगे, अंधेरे में बैठे रहेंगे, किसी से बात नहीं करेंगे, डोंट टॉक टू मी, व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप्स में से निकल जाएंगे और सबको ब्लॉक कर देंगे। बहुत सारा कुछ करते हैं आजकल लोग। और ये लॉकडाउन के अंदर बहुत सारे लोगों के साथ में बहुत कुछ ऐसा हो रहा है, राइट। ये लो फ्रीक्वेंसी में बहुत आसानी से जा रहे हैं, और इसलिए भी वृत्ति चेंजिंग टेक्निक माइंड को ट्यून करने के लिए, अपने वश में लेने के लिए ये बहुत अच्छी लगती है मुझे तो, और बहुतों को फायदा भी हुआ है। I will not spend time on this just now. Okay, एक हमारे साथ में चार्मी भी है, तो उसको भी ये बात अच्छी लगेगी जानने के लिए कि इस तकनीक के ऊपर बहुत सारी रिसर्च, साइंटिफिक रिसर्च भी हुई है, और उसमें से एक चीज मैं यहाँ शेयर कर रही हूँ। और मैं भी एक बायोलॉजी टीचर रही हूँ, तो इसलिए भी मेरे को ये पर्टिकुलर रिसर्च से ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट है। जब हम फाइट या फ्लाइट मोड में होते हैं, कोई इमरजेंसी सिचुएशन आ जाती है जैसे हमारे ऊपर, तो हम या तो एकदम फ्रीज हो जाते हैं शेम गिल्ट वगैरह में, यस, या हम उसके साथ लड़ते हैं और उसको दूर करना चाहते हैं, या उसके सिचुएशन से भाग जाते हैं, यस। ये सारा सब होता है अंडर द इफेक्ट ऑफ हार्मोन कॉल्ड इमरजेंसी हार्मोन इन अवर बॉडी, यस। तो इमरजेंसी में ये हार्मोन रिलीज होता है बॉडी में, हर समय में भी थोड़ी मात्रा में रहता है आपकी बॉडी को फंक्शन करने के लिए, लेकिन इमरजेंसी में ये एक स्पर्ट की तरह एक्स्ट्रा में आता है। तो ये जो एक्स्ट्रा आ जाता है ना ब्लड में, तो ये आपको एक्साइटेटरी स्टेट में भागने या लड़ने के लिए, कैसे मसल्स में जान वगैरह चाहिए ना, तो ये आपको उस स्टेट के अंदर बनाए रखता है। तो इफ यू आर मेंटेनिंग योर बॉडी इन दैट स्टेट, तो आप ये सोचो कि बॉडी का फंक्शनिंग कैसा हुआ। हाथ पैरों में ज्यादा ब्लड जाएगा तो इंटरनल ऑर्गन्स जैसे डाइजेशन का है, रेस्पिरेशन का है, और किडनीज हैं, जेनाइटल्स हैं, लिवर है, इन सब के अंदर कम ब्लड जाएगा, इन सब का काम स्लो हो जाएगा। तो एक और बात बताऊं, ये एक बार एक स्पर्ट में जो जाता है, जैसे आपने एक थोड़ा सा इरिटेशन भी किया, एक थोड़ी सी आपको चिढ़ भी होगी, फिर आपने अपने आप को कम बैक कर लिया, लेकिन उतने उस स्पर्ट में जितना वो एड्रेनलिन ब्लड में जाता है, उसको किडनी निकालती है बाहर, थोड़ा थोड़ा करके किडनी उसको बाहर निकालती है ब्लड में से जो एक्स्ट्रा हो गया। और 3 दिन लगते हैं, 3 days। और अब दिन में कितनी बार ऐसा हुआ है, तो आप सोचो कितना सारा गया है और कितने दिन लगेंगे उसको निकलने में ब्लड से। एक बार में जो गया है उसको निकालने में 3 दिन लगते हैं, तो आप यानी हर समय एक्साइटेटरी स्टेट में रह रहे हो, easily reactive, you don't have that peace and calm and all that then. तो अब हम जो सीखने करने जा रहे हैं, उससे हम इमीडिएटली जो हुआ है उसके फेस में ही आप उसको वापस अपने आप को काम स्टेट में ला सकते हो, ठीक है। और आगे ये कम आए या ना आए, उसके लिए भी आप कोशिश कर सकते हो यदि इसको रिपीटेडली करो। एक स्टूडेंट का अनुभव जो उसने मेरे साथ व्हाट्सएप पे शेयर किया, वो मैंने यहाँ कॉपी पेस्ट किया है, and she didn't mind sharing her name, so I actually have, you can see the date and all that also from WhatsApp, it's copied. She says, one major shift which has eased me is that whatever comes my way, I am comfortable now, that I will tackle it. ये उसको भरोसा हो गया अपने आप पे ये टेक्निक सीखने के बाद। Previously, worry, anger, discussion, fights were the only outcome, but now I can tackle it with positive mind. It's tough, but frankly, ma'am, only awareness has set in. By doing this technique, awareness has set in. Haven't been able to practice at all. Jada practice bhi nahi kiye. Have had very bad days since a week now. Regards to my family. She really had a lot of upheavals in the family. And this, in January, she writes to me, she had joined just a month ago. They just learned the technique and not been practicing very much. But whatever little she was doing, this is the result. She says only awareness has set in, not much of a shift has happened. So even awareness can do this of the affective domain. That she realized how she was negatively contributing to the situation. Ghar ka yadi mahol kharab hai, so she understood that how she has contributed us galat mahol mein. Yes. So, but I like that I can tackle it and not feeling helpless. Can you imagine so much of a power? जहां उस सिचुएशन में अपने आप को हेल्पलेस पाती थी, no more feeling helpless. So this can happen. There are some more videos of similar kind that people have shared their experience, but I think we'll skip it unless and until you people feel you want to know some more testimonials. One more thing for Charmi. There is, I talked about a hormone that gets you into a bad state. Yes, there are other hormones in our body that gets you into a good state. Yes, and that is related to this part called amygdala. It's a processing center that is hooked up to receive incoming messages from our senses and our internal organs. And it is hardly involved with the different emotional responses. It has been found that even this is positively impacted when we do this technique that we are about to do. I am pausing the recording. Let's continue. Let's continue. So, are you ready to actually experience whether this works for you or not? Well, let us, you will need to see me and I'll need to see you for doing this technique, because you have to do as I do and say as I say. Okay. I think for Charmi and Omprakash, it's totally new, but others have sometime or the other done this technique briefly with me. So, but still, I'm sure you are not learned it enough to continue to practice on your own. So you will need to still see me and do it. Okay. So what I'm going to make you go through is a very simple technique called, which was designed by Gary Craig from US, and he gave it a name, Emotional Freedom Technique. I learned this about 12 years ago from a direct student of Gary Craig who lived with him in the hospital there and learned it and worked with him while he was working with the patients with this technique. So I was fortunate because after this, she did only one more workshop and then she's not doing these workshops anymore. So I was lucky to have learned it from her. So when I did this technique, I found that it is just the thing which yoga people will find it best to begin with. Because in yoga, the first two steps of Ashtanga Yoga are Yama and Niyama. And Maharishi Patanjali says that when you are faced with the perverse thought, because Yamas are Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, Aparigra. Perverse means opposite of Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya. So whenever you're faced with perverse thought, shift to the opposite, means come to the positive. But you know, when I learned that first time, I said, yaar, mera man kar raha hai samne wale ko jordar ghunsa maru, jhapad maru. How can I think of love? दिमाग तो उसमें अटका हुआ है, दिमाग के ऊपर तो कोई जोर नहीं है कि उसको पकड़ के यहाँ पे निकाल के डाल दो. और ये टेक्निक सीखने के बाद में मेरे को लगा, अरे वाओ, दिस इज द आंसर दैट आई वाज लुकिंग फॉर. और हुआ भी ऐसे था कि मैं ये सवाल लेके डॉक्टर जयदेव के पास में पहुंच गई. and not directly in that context, but over a period of time, he encouraged me, because he always said this in whenever he got the chance, that anything that helps you to come to a balanced state is a yoga technique. So whatever works for you, do it. He also encouraged me, because I was working on some lesson plans for school children to teach yoga, etc. So you cannot restrict to just learning asanas. There used to be games and activities, etc., that I used to design to come to that concept. So he encouraged me. He said, find out what is happening in terms of emotional balance in the modern times. So what better than emotional freedom technique? When I found this, believe it, it was never going back. I went and shared it with him also. He was already aware of it. But okay, I said my excitement. And I even showed it to Hansaji and all that. And ever since then, I am using it at the Yoga Institute whenever I'm called for counseling the 7-day campers. All the newcomers and those tough ones who are undecided, I make them do this 1 or 2 times, and they are able to settle down and have a clearer mind without exception. If somebody asks me what is the success rate, 100%. Which generally is not the case with any technique that you, I'm talking about my own experience. Gary Craig in his research has said that there will be 1 in a lakh who will not respond to this technique. So there are people who will not. But whatever I have found, some people who do not immediately respond at the first go, they do it in a 2nd, 3rd round, 4th round, etc. It is just because one is too headstrong and does not want to admit that yes, they have an emotional aspect. So then the nature helps them, no? It takes a little while for those kind of people to attune to this and allow the affective domain to be addressed. So having given you this background, Gary Craig himself was an life coach, acupressure practitioner, and an NLP practitioner. But by education, qualification, he was an engineer, which he never practiced. But the scientific thinking was there, which helped in designing of this emotional freedom technique. So you will find that in this technique, acupressure points are used. The language used is the NLP language, because we're going to say a few statements. And engineering, scientific understanding, there is going to be a measure of whatever we are going to mental state begin with and end with. Okay. So he combined all his knowledge and understanding to design this technique. As a life coach, why he felt this need? Because he said people would come improve with all my coaching. But 6 months down the line, they are back there where they were. And they were looking for another coach, or they were back with me. And he was feeling very bad about it. He said, I want to give them something that will help them sustain. Means, kya hota tha? One would go back to the old ways and not knowing how to deal with that on their own. With the coach, they were able to deal with, but on their own, they were not. So really speaking, this technique is to make you independent, that you can deal with your day-to-day negatives that come in your way and prevent you from using your head and the hand properly. On your own, you're able to manage that and make use of your head, hand, and heart in an integrated way. Yes, because having come out of the hospital, if you go back to your old ways, you are going to go back to the hospital, right? कुछ लाइफ के तरीके में सुधार तो करना पड़ेगा ना, तो बिना कुछ हाथ में हुए कि भाई कैसे सुधारा जाए अपने आप को, मुश्किल होता है. And therefore we are going to do this. Okay, अब measure करना है. तो measure के लिए एक और connection आपको ध्यान दिला दूं. You may be knowing कि जब कभी हम गुस्सा होते हैं या दुखी होते हैं तो हमारी breathing jerky होती है. It's not normal breathing, right? Not smooth, not long, and all that, right? It's disturbed, disrupted. But if we are quiet, calm, अच्छी पिकनिक पे गए हो, बहुत सुंदर जगह पे हो, या मेडिटेशन अच्छा सा किया हो, तो हमारी ब्रीदिंग कैसी स्लो, स्मूथ, रेगुलेटेड होती है ना? यानी कि ब्रीदिंग और इमोशन का बहुत अच्छा प्रोपोर्शनेट कनेक्शन है. तो यदि ब्रीदिंग इंप्रूव होगी, यानी कि इमोशन के ऊपर इस टेक्निक से असर होगा. और ब्रीदिंग आसानी से मेजर भी कर सकते हैं. अभी तो हमें इमोशन को मेजर करना नहीं आ रहा है, तो हम ब्रीदिंग से शुरू करते हैं. ठीक है. तो इस समय याद कर लो, जो भी याद आती है, कि आपकी बेस्ट ब्रीदिंग कैसी थी. कभी किसी समय अच्छा मेडिटेशन किया हो या कुछ अच्छा अनुभव किया हो. नाइस क्वाइट पीसफुल प्लेस दैट यू आर इन. सो इफ दैट ब्रीदिंग इज 10 points, is your breathing that good just now, या उससे कुछ कम है? 9 पॉइंट पे है, 8 पे है, 7 पे, 6 पे है. कितनी क्या खराब है या कितनी कम है? आम तौर पे तो हमारी ब्रीदिंग वैसी नहीं रहती है, राइट? तो उससे थोड़ी कुछ कम होती है. क्या मजा आ जाए यदि हम हर समय वैसी रखें? मुमकिन है. यस. तो इस समय आप अपनी ब्रीदिंग को कितना नंबर दोगे? Just take 20 seconds, 30 seconds, be with yourself and see what number would you give your breath, and write it in the chat. Write your number in the chat when you are given your breathing some number. Out of 10, how much? Okay. 6 also. Asha? Asha, Reema, please write your number. Are you both there? Video off करके कहीं गए हैं. Anyway, let's begin. To begin, I need to just show you a few points and how I will describe that. Some points on the body, acupressure की बात कर रही थी मैं. So we will be stimulating some of the points. Charmi, you will have to sit so that I can see a little more of you. Can you raise yourself up? Yes. Okay. That. Yeah. Up to your shoulders, at least up to what you can see me. That's good. Thank you. So first is karate chop point is what I will call this. Just show me if you're got the point right. Correct. Side of the palm. Then I will talk about eyebrow, beginning of the eyebrow point, which is close to the nose. And we will use the first 2 fingers for tapping. Yeah. And a rhythm, a pace, nice rhythm, not too fast, not too slow. Next, I will talk about end of the eye point. Yeah, in spite of your specs, you can tap. Yeah. Then below the eyes point. Then there's a point below the nose. You don't have to remember, but just that it is not the first time you're doing when you're in the technique. Then chin groove, this little cavity here. Yeah. Then you have these two bones jutting out of the collar below that. Not on the bone, below the collarbone. Yes, very right. Then below the armpits, not in the armpit, but below the armpits. Okay. Then in front on the ribs, lower ribs. Right. Then on the junction of nail and skin on the side of the thumb. Yes. Let me see, Charmi, your hand. Very right. Then similar point on the forefinger. Get right mouth. Then middle finger, similar point, junction of nail and skin. Then we don't tap the ring finger. We go to the little finger. And then we will be back here. Then what to do? I will be telling you not to worry, and you will see me also. Okay. So we have measured our breathing, and we have to accept. One thing very important about this technique is to be ruthlessly honest with yourself. So if I make a statement for you, make you say, I am not breathing very well. That would be a correct statement because we know that we can breathe better than this. Okay. So that is what we are going to say. One more statement that will repeat in this technique is, I'm writing it in the chat. I completely and completely love, forgive, and accept myself. You like the statement? You like to say that to yourself? So this is where he used his NLP knowledge for making this statement. Yes, I deeply and completely love, forgive, and accept myself. Okay, so just do as I do and say as I say. Get into a rhythm of tapping the side of the palm. Now repeat after me. Even though I'm not breathing very well.
I'm not breathing very well.
I deeply and completely love, forgive, and accept myself. Even though I'm not breathing very well. I deeply and completely love, forgive, and accept myself. Even though I'm not breathing very well. I deeply and completely love, forgive, and accept myself. Now tap the beginning of eyebrow point using the tips of the first two fingers. Say not breathing very well. Say not breathing very well. Tap the end of eye point and say not breathing very well. Below the eyes, tap and say not breathing very well. Below the nose, tap and say not breathing very well. The chin groove, tap and say not breathing very well. Now tap this point below the collarbone and say not breathing very well. Tap the point below the armpits and say not breathing very well. You can tap on one side, you can tap on both the sides, either way is okay. Then on the lower ribs in front, not breathing very well. Then at the junction of nail and skin on the side of thumb, yeah, not breathing very well. Similar point on the forefinger, say not breathing very well. Similar point on the middle finger, tap and say not breathing very well. Tap similar point on the little finger, say not breathing very well. Come back to karate chop and say still. Still. I deeply and completely love, forgive, and accept myself. I choose to breathe, whichever hand, doesn't matter. I choose to breathe slow, smooth, and long. And I deeply and completely love, forgive, and accept myself. I choose to breathe slow, and long. And I deeply and completely love, forgive, and accept myself. I choose to breathe slow, smooth, and long. And I deeply and completely love, forgive, and accept myself. Tap the beginning of my and say slow breath. Tap the end of the eye point and say smooth breath. Tap the point below the eyes and say long breath. Tap the point below the nose and say slow breath. Tap the chin groove point and say smooth breath. Tap below the collarbone and say long breath. Tap below the armpits and say slow breath. Tap on the lower ribs and say smooth breath. Tap at the junction of nail and skin on the side of thumb and say smooth breath. Four fingers, similar point, and say long breath. Middle finger, slow breath. Little finger, smooth breath. Karate chop. And I deeply and completely love, forgive, and accept myself. Now on the left shoulder, find a soft point where you put a pin or a badge, no? With these two fingers, massage it in rotational motion as you take a deep breath in. Gently press and hold the point as you breathe out long from the mouth. Deep breath in and breathing out from the mouth. Once is enough. Okay. Now, again, go back to your breath and see what number would you give your breath now. Is there a shift? Write it in the chat. Okay, Malti has moved from 6 to 8, right? Okay, you also moved from 6 to 7. So positive move, right? So if breathing can change with this technique, you can change your emotional state. Is this what you can conclude? Yes, Charmi, I can see your smile, very broad. Charming, huh? So at least this technique works for both of you well, correct?
Yes.
And if we do one more round, you can bring it to 10. Okay? Yes, which has happened with most people. But as we are just doing the sampling just now for the time being, I need to answer if there is any question having to do this now. So first, let me take your questions, and then maybe I'll tell you something more. Any questions in mind?
When exactly is this technique to be used?
There's one great practitioner of EFT in modern time, one Mr. Nick Otter. I forget his surname, Nick. And he calls it tapping. Like I call it vritti changing technique. He also doesn't call it EFT, he calls it tapping, because tapping is what you do. And when I like the answer he gave, so I want to answer to you in his words. He says, in case you meet me when you are running away from a tiger, I will say, do tapping. So you have to do it in the face of the emotion. And you will find that when your mind changes, your situation changes also. So that is when you have to do. मैंने जो अपना एग्जाम्पल शेयर किया प्रतिपक्ष भावना का कि when you are faced with the powers, think of the opposite. That's exactly when you have to do it, and you will immediately come out of it. How long? Once you have learned the technique, it won't take you more than 2 minutes to do it. You are in rage and you do this. By the end of those 2 minutes, that rage would probably remain a little irritation, like from 6 to 7 you moved. If it may not become just a little irritation, at least from rage you will come down to anger. When you repeat it, you will come down to irritation. When you repeat it, you will be your normal self.
So would you say that if I'm in the middle of a fight with my husband?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm reacting adversely, that is the time to do it?
Yes. But now you will say, practically, how is that possible? Immediately, yes, you may not be able to use it in that situation. But if you practice it sufficient enough, like when I take you through the course, a 4-day course, I now do it online. Earlier, it used to be different when I was doing face-to-face. But now I have worked it out how it can be done online in 4 sessions of about 2.5 to 3 hours each. You learn the technique sufficiently enough to be able to do it on your own. And then there is a 21-day follow-up support where you must do it every day for 21 days so that you have become kind of at ease of doing it at least once in a day. And that practice you must maintain throughout life. Once a day for something small, take out those 2 minutes and do. Because as I told you about that adrenaline effect, दिन में एक बार तो कुछ ऐसा हो ही जाता है जो कभी तुम्हें को डिप्रेस करने वाला हो या बहुत ज्यादा गुस्सा करने वाला हो या कुछ ना कुछ तो होता है. So, and if not today, it also works on the memory of it. Yes, कोई past memory भी निकाल के दिन में एक बार एक tapping जरूर करो. What happens is that your body gets used to it. It gets into your subconscious. A neural pathway is formed, so it comes to you easily. Now, over a period of time, I've been doing it ever since I learned it. Now, I don't need to physically tap. I can just do it mentally. And it occurs to me also. शुरू में ये लगेगा कि यार उस समय याद नहीं आया, अब आ रहा है. सृष्टि को सुन के आइए ना. This was one of Shrishti's sharing. कि लेकिन उस समय नहीं याद आया। अरे मैंने कहा अभी तेरे को 6 घंटा बाद याद आया, पहले तेरे को कब आता था? 2 दिन बाद में समझ में आता था कि ये नहीं करना चाहिए था। अभी तेरे को 6 घंटे में आ रहा है तो वो उतना अच्छा नहीं है क्या? तब समझ में आया कि yes, there has been a shift. So there will come in a time. I took a long time too. मेरा तो नाक पे गुस्सा रहता था. Malti has seen the worst side of me. From there, I have come down to a point wherein out of those 100 times that used to happen, it doesn't happen even 5 times. And of course, yoga has helped in its own way. But this has worked in the face of the situation. Yoga is generic, holistic. So it will bring about change, but very, very gradually, and you're not able to see the change. And today's mindset is such. कलयुग का जो समय चल रहा है बहुत तेजी से चल रहा है. There is not enough patience. How much ever, Malti is a very patient person, I know you. But she cannot help. You cannot help. But be in tune with time, and therefore you also want that speed. तो वो जो quick reaction जो हमें चाहिए कि अभी गुस्सा आया मुझे अभी ही कंट्रोल करना है, तो योग से जल्दी से नहीं हो पाता. There is this I find is able to do it. I have often used this even for my yoga students who, are not very sure whether they will like the slow pace of yoga and all that. आते हैं, लेकिन उनको पता नहीं कि मैं ये कर सकूंगी कि नहीं. So I make them do this. तो वो थोड़ा immediate calming down जब हो जाता है, by the time you finish one round, breathing slow होगी ही होगी. तो जब वो calming down हो जाता है, then you are able to do something that is calming like yoga. ये आज के जमाने के लायक टेक्निक है. आज के जमाने का योग यही है.
You'll be happy to know I'm doing. Sorry.
Yes.
You can hear me.
I can.
So you'll be happy to know I've been doing regular yoga 3 times a week since October 2018.
Wow. Wow.
From the month I retired. Yes.
Okay.
Even before that in school with my teacher who was helping to teach us all, because kaam itna tha nahi towards the end. I was doing.
Excellent.
So good.
How
I
nice.
feel very good. I feel it's kept me balanced throughout this pandemic.
Right.
It has given me a feeling that I'm doing something for myself, physically, mentally.
Bilkul. 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 So this is helpful to deal with even those smaller irritants. और अक्सर योगा करने वाले को ब्लेम क्या आता है? घर के लोग खास करके, और जो करीब वाले हैं, जान पहचान वाले हैं. क्या योगा करते उसके बावजूद तेरे को इतना गुस्सा आता है? यानी कि तुम्हारे को कभी भी अधिकार नहीं है गुस्सा होने का.
I know,
right?
I know, exactly.
तुम्हारे को
However,
गलती करने का
you might
अधिकार
be
नहीं,
at
वो
one
ले
time
लेते हैं
also
तुम्हारे
not
से.
allowed.
इसलिए
वही मैंने कहा, मेरी तबीयत ठीक नहीं थी, तो मुझे गुस्सा चढ़ गया, उल्टा मेरे ऊपर गुस्सा आया.
Exactly. So nobody spares you. So, but you need something immediately that time.
I generally go into prayer mode. I do.
तो ये prayer की तरह ही हो जाता है. So there are different ways of doing things. This is one of the things.
Thank you.
और इसमें additional क्या होता है कि bodily जो action होता है ना, mind उसके साथ जल्दी
Mind उस पे आ जाता है. Yes.
So it is very helpful.
Because it directs your focus elsewhere.
Exactly. Cognitive भी है. बोल रहे हो आप, जो language use कर रहे हो, एक तो और NLP language है. तुम्हें पता नहीं उसका असर अंदर automatically क्या हो रहा है. दूसरा psychomotor भी है, और feeling को तो तुम address ही कर रहे हो. जैसे हमने इसमें breathing को किया. You could have taken anger. What I do in my workshop in those 4 days is, I often tell people to recall some instance that made them angry. मैंने कहा वो बहुत ज्यादा strong वाला मत करना, क्योंकि क्लास के अंदर उस टाइम में डील नहीं कर सकेंगे. कोई छोटे से गुस्सा आया हो किसी बात पे, वो याद कर लो, एक irritation. Yes. और उसको एक नंबर देकर then we work at removing it. क्योंकि गुस्से वाली कोई बात याद भी आती है तो हमारे को उतना नहीं तो भी उससे कम गुस्सा तो वापस we actually experience as if it's happened now.
Correct.
है ना? लोग बाग तो कोई एक न्यूज पढ़ के भी गुस्सा कर लेते हैं,
हाँ,
कोई एक सीरियल का एक सीन देख के भी गुस्सा कर लेते हैं कि उस सास ने ऐसा क्यों बोला उस बहू को। तो उस गुस्से को भी, उस गुस्से से जो बॉडी में जो नेगेटिव रिएक्शन होता है और वो मेमोरी में रह जाता है। योग में जब हम कहते हैं कि चित्त में, द माइंड में, बुद्धि में, जैसे बोलो कि उसमें जो भी कुछ हम सोच रहे हैं, महसूस कर रहे हैं, कह रहे हैं या एक्शन कर रहे हैं, all this gets stored by default. Not even this much is unnoticed. और ये ही तुम्हारा कर्माशय बनता है। So when that gets kind of ripened, it fructifies. It can get ripened in a short time within this lifetime. It can get ripened in a couple of hours. It can get ripened in some weeks and months and years. It can get ripened in the next janam, depending on the nature of the input. And that is the intensity. The intensity of your feeling associated with it. अब रूटीन वर्क के अंदर इंटेंसिटी फीलिंग की नहीं होती है, तो वो थोड़ा 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 करके जाता है. बट repetition, you saw in this technique also we are repeating. Repetition attends to your subconscious. तो वो subconscious में जाने के लिए इतना सा repetition तो चाहिए. This was the minimum repetition that we did.
So how many times you have to do this full cycle? Like one?
This, all that you will learn when you do the workshop.
No.
There are 12 points plus first and the last, so in all 14 points. Okay. You are working with. All that is explained in the workshop.
Okay. Charmi, any questions?
Yes.
The charming
any questions,
girl.
Charmi?
Not right now. No.
Not right now. She's still in the experience mode.
Yeah.
What all it can do? It can help you to become calm and drop your stress instantly. Maintain optimal weight. Yeah, I must share this with you. This one lady had joined this course. At that time, I was doing it at 4 different levels as a master's program, wherein she had joined the first level, wherein she just learned it sufficiently enough to do for herself with some help. And at the end of 1 month, she joined my next program, which I'm doing on Yama Niyama, which is for 6 months. So on the first day, when I asked everyone as to what is your reason for joining this extended program, what did she share? She says, I don't know how does it work? And she's also a yoga teacher for 15 years. But in this last 1 month, I have lost 4 kg weight.
Hey, what?
Which I have not lost with all my yoga that I do and practice and teach others. And in 1 month, and we were not working on anything on the body. We were working all on these immediate reactions and emotions and all that only. But she lost 4 kg in 1 month, which in a typical diet plan also is not expected. 2.5, 3 kg is what they say in a month's time. Another one lady who used to come to me, again, what she came to me was that my son doesn't listen to me. He's doing that and he's not studying and all that, all complaints about the child. So in the very first session, what came through, I said, your child is doing all this because of you. If you want him to change, you need to change yourself. Which somehow she accepted, realized, and she came for a few sessions. She was doing one-on-one sessions with me. Yeah, I do personal counseling of that kind. And in about 8-10 sessions, when she's coming, her clothes are hanging on her like on a hanger.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she lost that much of bulk. She said, I'm just losing weight. I'm doing nothing else different except this.
Like I said, holding on to things makes you put on weight.
She realized what all she was holding on. And after that, then after a few sessions, when she said, now I'm afraid of losing weight. Why? Because I'm looking beautiful. I'm afraid of looking beautiful when people will praise me. अभी तक कोई मोटी-मोटी करके चिढ़ाते थे तो मेरे को मालूम था उनको कैसे जवाब देने का. But now when they are appreciating me, I don't know how to respond to it. I shrink when they, praise me and all that. I'm afraid I don't want to lose more weight. So she was afraid of being healthy and good looking. But then that emotion also we tackled with this. Then at another time, one lady was saying कि हाँ मेरे को मालूम है मेरे को फायदा तो होता है इससे लेकिन मेरा मन नहीं करता इसको करने का. So I made her do even though I don't feel like doing this. That was overcome by this only. So it's that kind of a simple, unique technique. Overcome. I get a lot of people who are very well educated and everything. They want everything perfect in life. उसने ये काम ठीक से नहीं किया तो वो चढ़ पड़ते हैं दूसरों पे. तो ये perfectionist syndrome is what I call it, है ना? So we can get out of it. And this perfectionist syndrome is increasing our adrenaline, that emergency hormone. And we are producing toxins in our body then. And we are remaining in an excitatory state. So हम जितना योगा करके अपने आप को calm down करते हैं उतना ही हम perfectionist syndrome से उसको opposite भी कर लेते हैं. तो ये निकालना के लिए this technique, vritti changing technique, is very useful. You can break out of old patterns. We have a lot of patterned behavior, which some of it is kind of, keeping us back from growing or deteriorating whatever good work we may be doing and all that. If you recognize it, you can get out of it if you really want to. Yes. Sleep. Once I was doing a session with about 80 teachers of a school. This was in the middle of the day, half a day session and orientation I'd given them. And after that, they had classes to go to. So some teachers at the end of the session were asking if this can help them to sleep. I said, definitely. A lot of people have had very good experience. Just one round of VCT and they have been able to sleep, which they have not been able to do in years. So I said, I can take a small session with about 8 of them who had wanted to do this. But I said, you please ask your principal because you feel sleepy. You have to go to your class. So I told her, yes, I'll make them sleepy, but I'll also wake them up before going to class. So we did that. Hello? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. No, because I saw the message that my internet connection is bad. So I was wondering, and I saw you frozen. So I made them do, some of them were saying it lasts 8 years, 10 years. I don't sleep for at least 2 hours after going to bed. And in the middle of the night and before they fall asleep, it's time to wake up kind of. No, so it was that kind of a major issue with them. Just one round, all of them were yawning. In one round, they were all yawning. I said, I can't afford to make you go to sleep. So we did the reverse. Then I'm feeling sleepy, I choose to be awake. And then I sent them to class. So I said, now it's up to you that you can record it. They recorded it. And रात को play करो, इसके साथ में करो और सो जाओ. So it really gives you good sleep. There are times when I'm working, sometimes it happens that I'm in the process of finishing my book and writing some assignments and all that. So mind बहुत active हो जाता है यदि रात तक करते रहो तो.
Yes.
So नींद नहीं आती है. Otherwise I am touch the pillow and off to sleep.
Yeah.
So I go to bed and I do this, and even before I finished it, I have fallen asleep. So in the morning I just get up and close. This is the closing point. Breathing in and breathing out. with the mouth. Breathing in from the nose deeply and then breathe out from the mouth. So just close in the morning so that you're not attracting some others, anything you get it. Remove any pain. Pain, it works like nobody's business. I will share one instance that happened with my maid. Now, during this lockdown, luckily, I'm very lucky that I had a maid with me before the lockdown, and she continued to stay along throughout the lockdown and everything. 1.5 years throughout she was there. But one day in between, she said, "मेरे को 2-3 दिन की छुट्टी दो, मेरी आज कमर दुख रही है, और जब भी कमर का दर्द होता है, मेरे को 2-3 दिन लगते हैं ठीक होने में, मेरे को आराम करना पड़ेगा." तो मैंने कहा तू छुट्टी घर में ही ले ले, कहीं बाहर जाके वापस आना. It was not all that right in this corona period. And then I said, तेरा सुबह का काम तो मैं कर लेती हूँ, उसके बाद में मैंने कहा तू नाश्ता कर ले, and then I will make you do something and see if that pain is okay. She very sincerely did it with me. Made her do it in Hindi. I introduced you to her, I think one day, my Bengali maid that was there. Malti अपन ने बात की थी उन दिनों में, है ना? So her. So I made her do this. Just about 2 rounds we must have done. In less than 15 minutes. After that, she's getting up and looking around. I said, क्या हुआ, क्या देख रही? नहीं, मैं देख रही हूँ मेरी कमर अभी हिल रही है, दर्द नहीं हो रहा है, कहाँ गया? Asking कि दर्द कहाँ गया? क्या ढूंढ रही है? बोले तो दर्द कहाँ गया? And till the evening, she kept on checking back herself. नहीं दीदी वापस नहीं आया. Next day again, she's saying, वो कहाँ गया मालूम नहीं, नहीं यार नहीं हो रहा है दर्द. You know, pain, it works magical. Even orthopedic pain, migraine kind of pain, name it, any type of pain, in spite the organic condition has to be dealt with, but you don't suffer the pain. It's like that.
Wow.
Of course, those of us who are into yoga and meditation, you can do better yoga, better meditation, and there's a long list of things. I just enumerated a few for you. These are some of the cases that I have solved using EFT. Trust issues, dandruff, being late everywhere, procrastination issues, perfectionism, I already told you, not being able to plan, not being able to stick to plan, can't follow a routine, funny things, overwhelmed that I can't do this, others can do. Exam stress. Once one of my students, her son was having nowadays these online exams that are there. And he said, just before, when I go for the exam, I know everything and I'm very confident. But the moment I get the paper in hand, I feel I have forgotten everything. I get nervous and I can never do the paper with the confidence with which I had gone to the examination hall. So he wanted to do this tapping with me. I did one session with him on the day prior to his examination. Means next morning, 8 o'clock, he had his exam. On the previous day around this time, we were doing the tapping. So I kind of made him visualize that situation, that he gets into that state, and in the face of it, we did the tapping. And then I gave him a 10-second thing to do in case he still faces it while in the doing the paper. Next day in the afternoon, we called her. Yeah. नहीं बिल्कुल मैं कॉन्फिडेंटली पूरा पेपर किया, पेपर देख के भी मेरे को कोई स्ट्रेस नहीं हुआ. It's gone. So just one session of working around the issue, right in the face of it, by just recalling it from memory, it does the thing. Some of the other things that people have worked at with this, speech issues, speech difficulty. कई लोग होते हैं बाकायदा speech का problem है, so that also Others find that in the face of the situation, they don't know what to say, they become dumbfounded. बाद में लगता है कि ऐसा बोलना चाहिए था, ऐसा कहना चाहिए था, ऐसा करना चाहिए था. But in the situation, they always find themselves, they are lost for words. They can't remember anything. They can't, behave in an appropriate manner. So even that has been solved over a period of course, because it has other things connected to it. Well, how does this work? It works on the surface. So whatever is your uppermost issue, that has to be dealt with first. Like once one a lady came with a phobia of hospitals. Imagine in this corona time, any news of sickness or sight of hospital gets her into panic condition. So, and very first round we did around this, she called herself at 8 years of age. Some instance had happened. So from that time she was suffering this, and this was a treat for herself on her 50th birthday that she was giving to do a 10 session with me.
Oh,
so you can imagine all the years that she has suffered this. And so along with that, on the way, over these 40 years, she had collected so many other things that had got attached to it. So we cleared out each of these. It was related to her profession also. It had got related to her personal life. It had got related with her own personal health. So also many things, relationships. Oh God. And each of them had to be worked at, whichever was the uppermost on that day. And some days, rather than get to the issue directly, there would be that sasu ke saath kuch anban ho gayi. So first that had to be dealt with, so that she can come to the issue. So it works on the uppermost. It will not work कि भाई नीचे से कुछ जाके निकाल के ले आए वो करने में नहीं होगा. So first attend to your uppermost, and that is why one statement one of my students said, okay, what I like best about this technique is today's tension, don't go to bed with it. Remove it today. This is how she puts it. So do it daily. So उन्होंने तो अपना रूटीन बना रखा है कि रात को सोने से पहले तो कम से कम करना ही है. दिन में यदि नहीं टाइम मिला, यदि नहीं हुआ, तो रात को तो सोने जाना ही नहीं है जब तक आज का जो इरिटेशन आया था, जो भी याद है, उसको निकाल दो. So that kind of a feeling low, which happens sometimes, muscle spasm, body ache, joint pains, definitely, headache, even poor memory and concentration has improved with this. One girl who said that आज मेरा ट्यूशन का लास्ट डे है, आज मेरी टीचर मेरे को ट्यूशन में से निकाल देगी. क्यों? क्योंकि उसने बोला है कि मेरी वजह से उसका नाम खराब होएगा. 9th स्टैंडर्ड गर्ल कि मैं कभी भी 20% से ज्यादा मार्क्स नहीं लाती, लेकिन मेरे को याद सब होता है, घर पे मम्मी को दिया होता है मैंने सब, and I know everything, but when I sit down to write a test I get only 20%. So fine, before going for tuition she was at my place. We did this, we addressed this very thing. Even though I'll get only 20% marks, I'll forget everything. I forget everything as if it's happening right now. Okay, we did that. And she went and she called me up at night. Didi bach gayi. क्या हुआ? मेरे को टीचर ने नहीं निकाला, मेरे को 80% मिला आज.
Wow.
From that day on, her life changed.
Wow.
She passed with 85% marks in her 10th, and she was a diva. Now she's happily married and nice and all that.
Charmi ji gayi kahan? I think Shruti, we've taken up a lot of your time.
Yes,
Where
I
is
think
Charmi?
we are concluding now.
Okay.
Yes. So how you can learn this? It will take about 4 days, 3 hours each. The next session is planned to be on Thursday, Friday, first week of August, second week of August, Thursday, Friday, from 3:30 to 6:30. and the investment that you will make on yourself is this. And if you're interested, I can send you this link.
I'll get in touch with you.
Yeah.
So where is
Okay, so
Charmi
let
on?
me know. It will be online. We'll connect on Zoom, and that's how it will be. For any major issues, Charmi, can I have you there? For any
Yeah.
major issues, then you take one-on-one session for 10 sessions. That is separate. But what my interest is, I want the 10,000 people to benefit in this year, and that I want to teach everyone so that you deal with at least, ठीक है, जो past में हो गया वो हो गया. अब फिर से at least additional stress मत add करो.
मत लो.
Correct.
So first remove today's stress today. So I'm very interested that people learn this technique for at least dealing with immediate on the face. जो मेरा पहला question था Charmi, that was the right question for this technique. In the face. So at least वहां तक पहुंच जाओ. फिर तुम्हारा पास्ट में से कुछ निकालना है जो पैटर्न्स हैं वगैरह वगैरह बहुत सारा कुछ हो सकता है. There is no end to it, and for practice of yoga, I find there's not. I have written a book already. One book is published, which is on yamas and VCT, and second book is just ready. I will take a couple of days, which is on niyamas and VCT. And third, the matter is ready. Book has yet to be found, which is Pratipaksha Bhavna and VCT.
My God, yeah, too much. Guruji.
Yeah.
Chalo, thanks, Suchi. God
Thanks
bless.
a lot,
Thank
ma'am.
you that I could do this because you all joined.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Let me know if you want to join.
Yeah.
Sure, sure.